Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Moonbeam Manor. I kind of thought about it, and it seems like if you're going to have a Halloween props channel on YouTube, you need to show how you do tombstones. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, you can do them in several different ways. I've seen some videos where people really take the time and do a lot of detailing with them and everything. I don't personally do that because I feel like the people who come in my yard on Halloween usually just come, they get their candy and they leave. Sometimes they'll stick around and look at the props and all that I build, but they don't really go and just see what I've done and all that. They just look at it from a distance. I don't really see the point in going into details on it. But for those of you who do that, props to you. I mean, great. I wished I would do that, but I'm too lazy. I just do these quick prop things that, um, I just do really quick prop things I can just get done in a day or so. And we're going to be making tombstones out of styrofoam. This one is just a piece that I have around. It's about an inch thick. You can get them in several different thicknesses. And if you just have little pieces of styrofoam lying around from previous projects and stuff, what you can do is take them, you can glue them together, stick them together, and then you'll get a bigger piece. We have a bigger, I can't even think of the word right now, but you get a bigger piece to work on. So what I've done is I had this lying around, this styrofoam that I broke in half, and I glued it together. I'll see the seams here. And I had glued it together to make it a little thicker. So that's what we're going to be working with today. I've already drawn in a shape on here that I'm going to use on this one. This is an old one that I had cut out. It's your typical rounded tombstone. This is, like I said, this is one we're going to be working on today using. The seam in here, if you look back here, see where I glued like some pieces together. See this line here? This would be the back of it, so nobody really is going to see that. But I had it on this side too, going straight up the middle, where I just took some caulk and I put it in there. We're going to sand it down and hopefully get a little better job with it. So, like I said, this is the one we're going to be kind of like working with today. But I am going to go ahead and cut this one out and show you the process. So let's get started. All right, first thing you're probably going to want to do is sort of like trace out your design that you want to use. I already done it in pencil. I'm just going to go over to marker so hopefully you can see it a little better. And also it'll be a lot easier for me to see it when I go to cut it out. And that's the shape we're going to be having the tombstone in. So you can cut it out with a knife or hot wire knife or something. I'm just going to be using my jigsaw here to cut it out real quick. Safety first, safety glasses. All right, let's hopefully get this thing cut out. Try not to get in the way of the camera here. And there I have this tombstone cut out, and I got enough for make another tombstone at some point. See, it's got a nice shape to it and everything, and there you go. Nice little tombstone shape there. We'll come back later and kind of sand it down and try to get it more rounded and everything, but that's it cut out. Now we're going to work with this. All right, like I showed you earlier, I do have that caulk in here that I done a few years ago. It's kind of rough and everything, so I got my sander and I'm going to try to sand it down and get this as smooth as I can. I've gotten that pretty smooth. Put this away. And that's pretty smoothed out, and we'll get to work on the next part. Now, one thing I like to do, this is just me, one of the things I do with my tombstones is I actually make tombstones of movie makers, directors, and especially makeup artists that kind of inspired me to do what I do. I grew up watching the Universal monsters on television: Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I grew up watching those, and you've got to be interested in the makeup and special effects and stuff like that. So I kind of do tombstones of these people, movie makers, that I had inspiration on me. So I do have tombstones for like Jack Pierce, who did the makeup for Frankenstein and the Wolfman. That's one that I have. Stan Winston, who did makeup effects for Terminator and Jurassic Park. You know, there's people like that. Dick Smith. You know, people who have done makeup and special effects stuff in movies that have passed on. And I'm just repeating myself here. And this one, I think, is going to be Lon Chaney, who did the makeup for movies such as the old silent films like Phantom of the Opera, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Those are movies. He did the makeup effects, not as well as starring in them. So I figure I'd do a tombstone for Lon Chaney on this. So yeah, here we go. Now, like I was saying earlier, you got these gaps in here, especially when you glue two of them together. And I'm going on the sides and the top here to kind of fill in some of those gaps. I didn't have the squeeze tube caulk available, so this is what I'm having to do right now. Get that in there, just take your finger and kind of rub it in. Try to seal those gaps. I'll bring it over there in just a second. And we'll just resand it to get it smooth. All right, here we go. Get it into those gaps, like so. Try to hide those imperfections, so to speak, even though I'm not a professional. Like I said, this is the back side. I don't really care that much about it, but I did want to get these sides done. So, and when that dries, we'll go back over it with the sand, dirt, and with the sander, and get it smoothed out. So that's a start. All right, now it's time to put your name down, or your epitaph, whatever you want to do. And like I said, I'm doing Lon Chaney, so I'm just kind of writing out the lines. Because, like I said, I'm no professional, but I do like to keep my lettering a little straight. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, making sure everything's kind of even. Make it a little bit thicker than that. Looks a little even, so. So we've got that. I'm gonna make this a little bit of a gap in here. It's not quite as even as I would like it. Drop your pencil. Come down here. There we go. Now what I'll do here is I'll take a marker and I will somewhat sketch out the name I'm going to put on here. it will not look like this. Because like I said, I'm lazy. I don't go into details too much, but okay. Once you've gotten your lettering done, now you can do this with a X-Acto knife, cut them out. But I'm using a rotary tool, so we're going to kind of like carve out the letters and the numbers is be the next step, and we're going to get on to that. Oh, and before I get started, let's safety first. Mask and safety glasses. All right. Once you've got your tombstone kind of uh, carved out and everything, you want to go back over and sand it again a bit. But before I do that, I'm going to show you another little kind of detail that I do. All right, one thing that I happen to have are these silicone molds, decorative molds that I'll put on the tombstone. This is like some roses or something, and this is like pretty good design. And what I'll do, I'm not sure how well you can see this up here, is that I'll take a hot glue gun, get it hot, and I will fill in these molds. I seem to have an old gun. Might be a little clogged or something, so I may have to look into cleaning it. Yeah, we'll come back. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to spend the money on a new hot glue gun soon. And you want to fill these molds up. And you want your hot glue gun to work. Yeah. All right. You want to, after you fill them up, you want to kind of put it to the side and let it dry. Now I'm going to try to fill up one of these with hot glue. You can also use spray foam and put these in here, but that just takes, spray foam just takes a lot longer to dry up. And because these are so deep, I may want to change it to using spray foam, since my hot glue gun doesn't seem to be working all that well. And I'll be using an awful lot of hot glue on this, so we may not even do the roses. So we're going to put that to a stop. All right, next, after your hot glue is dried, you can pull them on out. And you got yourself this nice little design. Now, it's not perfect. I think my glue gun has a lot to do with that, and get some of this extra webbing, as I call it, off. And then you can, yeah, this one's kind of ugly looking. You may have to redo this one. And this will give you a tombstone. Glue them on here, like a little bit of a design to it. I was thinking about putting the rose right up here, but this might work. Like I said, I don't go into too much stuff. I'm just doing this kind of like show you how you can do these things. So, alrighty. Alright, to kind of glue this down, you want to use like a foam glue. I use this Gorilla Glue. You don't want to use hot glue to put this down, because hot glue not only does not really stick to styrofoam, it will melt right through the styrofoam. So you don't really want to use hot glue. I'll smooth that out a bit. All right. You don't really need to use a lot of this glue. Put it on kind of sparingly, I guess. And with that kind of glue, you kind of want to get a little moisture on it. I think the moisture does something to do with activating the glue itself. And then you just tap it down where you want it. All right, and just wait on that to dry. All right, another thing, I almost forgot about this. To order to get this thing a more cement, marble kind of texture, get yourself a spray bottle of water, kind of spray it down a bit. Then get yourself a heat gun and kind of go over it. I'm not sure how well you can see that. We'll get a close-up look in a minute. But what this does is kind of puts like a texture on your tombstone. And it gives you a closer look at it. As you can see right there. Over here. Like puts these indentions in your tombstone to give it a more rocky kind of look. Good. All right, next for some details. If you want to put cracks and stuff into your tombstone, you get yourself an X-Acto knife, and you kind of cut in at an angle. And then you come in again and follow that line at a different angle. Kind of scrape it out. Get yourself some cracks in your tombstone here. Sure. There you go. Another way of doing this is you can just cut your tombstone in here. I'm just gonna do it like this. Again, come in again, try to follow the same line. And once again, if you hit it with a heat gun, the foam will expand. Come through here. You can scrape that out a bit. Let me grab my heat gun, see if I can show it to you. Kind of come over it. You can see it kind of spreading that line a bit. I think I maybe burnt this part a little too much, but I'm going to come up here and kind of do another. This one, take it like a bigger chunk out of. And again, break it down. Come in here at a different angle. Over here. Pull that out. There's another crack coming in through here. Another crack coming in over there. Like so. Spreads it out a little bit. And you get your cracks in there. I think I want to put another crack. This side looks kind of boring. Like this. That looks pretty good. Again, with the heat gun, kind of open that up. I do want to take a little bit off this corner here. And there you go. Now another tool you can use is this rasp, if you have one available, and kind of give your tombstone an old look to it. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Kind of gives it an old, been around for a while kind of look. Not so smooth. All right, once you've done all that, pretty much you're just ready for paint. All right, now we're ready for paint. And what I like to use, you can't see it, but it's called dry lock. So you see the paint's already kind of come over it. I use dry lock because it would kind of seal it and weatherproof it a bit. I'm not sure how well this paint's going to work because I've had it sitting for a while. And I'm going to say it's not going to work. As you can see, it's pretty dry in there, so I have to go get a new thing of dry lock. So I may just pause this video here and we'll come back at another time. Yeah, I'm not getting any paint on this brush whatsoever. So, yeah, I have to get rid of this bucket. It's kind of sad because it's pretty full too. So, yeah, we're just going to have to come back to that. So, I didn't exactly plan on this being a two-part video, but apparently it's going to be because I do have to go pick up some more paint and do this again. The next video will be a lot shorter. But yeah. Here's Lon Chaney's Tombstone. I just have to get it painted. And I'll show you some other techniques and painting techniques on weathering and stuff like that. So until next time, go make something and keep Halloween alive.